Hey, everybody. For those of you looking in on Sentinel Sports, our Twitter, this is not a sports show. This is something that I've been passionate about for years in my life. Anyone that knew me growing up, something that I loved probably as much as sports is soap operas. In the recent years, the soap opera genre has dwindled, especially the daytime. The O.J. Simpson trial showed people they didn't really need the daytime soaps like they did when they were before that. Watch them every day. You get to know the characters. You become, they become like your friends. Well, recently CBS they brought a new soap opera on, and it's the first daytime soap opera to premiere on network television since 1999. It is called Beyond the Gates. It premiered on Monday, and I decided that when I heard about it that I was going to watch it from the beginning. And then I decided this week at some point that I'm going to do a recap show each week, and maybe I'll predict a little. With soap operas, a lot of times you can see you know what's going to happen, and I think this show it's done. It's got a lot of really great producers. Robert Guza. 3 or 4 of these producers were involved in a great soap opera that was on when I was young, when I was in high school. It was called Santa Barbara, and they were involved in that. And it was a good soap opera because it had drama, but it also had some humor mixed in. And I see that with this show a little bit, Beyond the Gates, in the first week. It is produced by Procter & Gamble along with the NAACP and CBS Television. And Clifford Davis, for the older people who might tune in to our recap show, Clifford was on That's My Mama in the 70s. He's the patriarch of the Dupree family. That's the main family in the show. He plays Vernon Dupree. His wife, Nicole Dupree, his wife is actually Anna Dupree, and she's played by Tamara Tooney. And then he has 2 daughters. They have 2 daughters, Nicole Dupree Richardson, played by Daphne Duplex, and Danny Dupree Hamilton, played by Carla Mosley. And I have to tell you, if you're going to pick a person who is the star of the show after 1 week, it is definitely her. It is definitely Carla Mosley, who plays Danny Dupree. Her husband left her for a younger woman, and she is out for revenge. The husband, Bill Hamilton, he's not a very nice character. He's just not a very nice person. And he invited her and her family to his wedding, to the woman he had the affair with and left Danny for. And that girl, also being younger, was one of his daughter's best friend. So, he's an underhanded, scheming attorney. He's a character that nobody's going to like. You're not supposed to like him. And I really, can't blame anyone for not liking him. His own daughters don't like him. He's played by Timon Kyle Durrett. And this show is filmed in Atlanta at Tyler Perry Studios. It's very well done. The first week, I was very impressed by everything with the production in the first week. And it was interesting, too. It didn't go slow like some of the soaps do now. They go so slow. You could tune in on Monday and tune back in on Friday, and you won't miss anything. In this show, you miss a lot. If you tuned in on Monday and then you tuned in today, you're like, wow, how did they end up at the wedding? So they did end up at the wedding because Bill has there's a secret with the Dupree family. I'm not sure who Martin is. They really haven't said who Martin is yet. But the main characters that I mentioned earlier, Anita Dupree and Vernon Dupree, after Bill basically blackmailed Vernon, I believe it was on Tuesday, he basically blackmailed him and said the family better come to the wedding. Vernon and Anita had this discussion. They have to do everything to protect Martin. I'm not sure who Martin is. I have no idea. We don't know who Martin is yet. Maybe they have a hidden child. Maybe he's Vernon's brother or Anita's brother. I don't know. But I think we're going to find out. But I'll tell you what. It moved quickly. There are a lot of fascinating characters. The Duprees are an African-American family in the affluent city that they live in. It's a gated community. And it's very, I just really like how it's done. Harborcrest, is where it takes place. And it's a gated community. And what's crazy about it is that, people wanted to, you live in this community because you have money. You're like invited to this gated community. And what happens is that the Dupree family, the main family on this show, basically formed this community. And this Bill Hamilton, the rotten Bill Hamilton, wants to live there. He bought a house and is going to live there with his new wife. They're doing everything they can to humiliate Danny. Well, there's some things that are going to happen. Okay, we have this Leslie character who's friends with the administrative assistant, basically, that works for the oldest daughter. I believe she's the oldest daughter, Nicole Dupree Richardson. She is a psychologist. She's married to her husband, who is a plastic surgeon, Ted Richardson. But her administrative assistant's best friend, Leslie, and her daughter, Ava, they're scheming something. Leslie the other day ran the secretary of Nicole off the road, and now her daughter's going to take the job temporarily, which I don't believe that. Something's going on. These two are nuts. It sounds like possibly the perfect husband of Nicole. They have a perfect marriage. They pretty much, made that clear in these first days of the show, that her husband, Ted, and her have a perfect marriage. From what it sounded like in Friday's episode, Ted is the father of Leslie's daughter. But they're saying she's not her daughter. She is her surrogate parent because her mom died, I believe, at birth. So some scheming's going on with Ava and Leslie, but that's not even the main thing. The main thing is this horrible, Bill character, like inviting his ex-wife to his wedding, and to his let's just be honest, his younger tramp daughter or wife, fiance, who's now going to supposedly be his wife. But I don't know, the way the show ended today, we don't know, because you knew Danny was going to do something. She's already slapped Bill in the face. She's already slapped Haley in the face. She's already, in this first week, she's already gone into Bill's office and knocked everything off his desk with a golf club and in front of his clients. Today, the tipping point, you knew something was going to happen when she said to her daughters prior to the wedding that, remember, no matter what happens, I love you. Well, right as the show ended and the minister pronounced Bill and Haley husband and wife and presented them to the crowd, Danny stood up and pulled out a gun. And as the show faded for the week, a gunshot rang out. From what they showed, it looked like Bill might have got out of the way. I feel like Haley got out of the way too. If anyone got shot, it was probably the minister. I'm going to predict that the minister got shot. Somehow, Danny will get out of this. Let's say she's nuts, which, she kind of seems a little nuts this week. So she'll get out of it. She's not leaving they're not getting rid of her after a week. What was interesting is her best friend showed up today from Paris, and that was played by Caddy McLean, who was in All My Children for years. She played Dixie Cooney. So that's an interesting addition to the cast. It's a nice addition to the cast. It's a very good cast. A lot of times when you see a new soap opera, you think to yourself, that's not a very good actor. I have not really identified one person in this show that I've thought, oh boy, they're not a good actor. It's been pretty good acting, actually very good acting the first week. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen next week. I'm going to predict that Leslie and Ted had an affair at some point, and that's going to cause strain in the marriage of, between him and his wife, who supposedly have a perfect marriage. Something's going on with the two gay characters. He's a senator, or not a senator. He's a congressman. He's one of the Duprees, and he's a congressman. Something's going on there. He's been having dreams. His husband was on the phone with someone today. He said it was nothing, but it's something. It's a soap opera. They're not going to show the phone call if it's nothing. They have two kids. And so there's a lot of interesting things. There's a nurse and her firefighter husband. That's something's going to happen there because one of the stepchildren of Nicole and Ted seems to have a thing for this nurse, and they may have had something in the past. At the end today, they got trapped in an elevator at the hospital with a pregnant woman who looked like she was having a baby. So I feel like something's going to develop between them, and there'll be problems between her and her firefighter husband. She just started as a nurse at the hospital. So there's a lot going on here. It's a good show. It needs to be an hour. And let me tell you something. I can tell if a TV show is good if I'm like, geez, it's almost over. That's how I felt this week with Beyond the Gates. And I hope this show makes it. I believe what they said was the ratings for the preview last week were higher than the programming on that network on CBS last year at that time. So that's a very good sign. If the preview did well, hopefully the show did well this week. We'll find out. Nielsen ratings, there'll be something out probably on Monday. Overnight numbers or something. Hopefully it does well. I think it's a really good show. If it wasn't, I would know it. I'll tell you this, and The Bold and the Beautiful has been on now for 38 years. I remember when that came on, I watched it. It just was too slow for me. And I've always thought The Young and the Restless was too slow. This show is not slow. This show moves quick. If you haven't watched Beyond the Gates yet, and you like soap operas, it's a really good soap opera. It is the first soap opera since Generations that focuses on an African-American family. And I think it's really, it's just really a good show. And we're going to do this once a week. We'll do a show recapping the week. So we ended the week at the wedding, and the last thing we saw was Danny pull out a gun and shoot. I believe she shot once. My prediction is she hit the minister. She didn't hit Bill or Haley. That would be too easy. So you can kill off a minister who was just on there today. But or maybe not even kill her, just injure her. And then Danny's got all kinds of legal trouble. So, but Danny ain't going anywhere. She's too interesting of a character to be gone in the first week. So, but we're going to, we'll be back next week. We'll be back on Friday next week with the recap of week 2. If you haven't watched it yet, tune in. Really good show. But you can find this recap show on YouTube at Lake County Sentinel or on our Facebook page, Lake County Sentinel. And until next week, happy watching.